Right. Last week it was somebody over here. He wanted to say Kaddish with his grandparents, and he had Baruch Hashem parents still alive. So I told him if he got permission from his parents to say Kaddish, he says I don't need to. Somebody told him he doesn't need to. So I'm going to go through this halacha. If you really need permission from your parents when they're alive to say Kaddish for the grandparents or for anybody else you like to say Kaddish. So in the Shin Ein Vav in Yerodayim, the Mr. Yosef brings over there from the name of the Marami Rottenberg. He said like this: "Umitzvah loymar Kaddish al imoy b'chayei aviv." He says if somebody, the mother passed away, the father's still alive. It's a mitzvah to say Kaddish while the father's still alive. Vim aviv makpid. If the father says, "I don't want you to say Kaddish, I'm alive still," and we're going to see soon there was such a kpeda, the parents felt it's like a shtickle ein horror. People are certain that if you say Kaddish for somebody, the parents alive, and the father says, "I don't want you to say Kaddish because I'm still alive." The mother told him clearly, she made a will at tzavo, you should say Kaddish after me. Yeah, he says kvoid ha'ov koidem l'kvoid ha'em. Since by kibud avohem. Kvoid ha'ov, we learned that already. It's before kvoid ha'em. The male, you have to listen to the father and not to say the Kaddish. If the father is makbid. Now, the Darche Moshe says over there, he says, when he says the cost of soifa sefer, meaning the end of the sefer, the Yosef changes his mind, and he says, even the father is a makbid, you're going to say the Kaddish after one of the parents. According to this, I think that's one, whoever told him you're allowed to say Kaddish, maybe it's one of the Mekoyres he had, that's one of them. But another Mekoyer, he made a mistake. He taught from here, mashma, even when somebody says no, you don't have to listen to them. If you need to say Kaddish, you're going to say Kaddish. Okay, we're going to see, that's not a raya at all for that case. It's a different case. Over here, you have to say the Kaddish for one of the parents. Over here, you have to say the Kaddish for the grandparents. When is one of the parents, you have to say Kaddish, even the other is makbid, you're still going to say it. That's the meaning. Okay, so that's over here. Now, in Kuf Lamed Beis and Kuf Lamed Gimel in Orachayim, they talk also about this inyan. So in Kuf Lamed Gimel, the Darche Moshe brings like this. V'chosav Shom. It's also from the Maharam Mirottenberg. The im of v'em makpidim. If the parents is the makpid, the son should not say Kaddish for someone else. En laben loymar Kaddish b'chayayim. So in Adarab, that's clearly, the Darche Moshe says clearly, if the parents are makpid, he should not say Kaddish for wherever he wants to Kaddish, for grandparents or another relative or somebody he knows. It says en laben loymar Kaddish b'chayayim. Echenu b'tashbetz. Yeah, so it says clearly over here, the Darche Moshe, if the parents are makpid, he should not say the Kaddish. Also, this is in Kuf Lamed Gimel in Tur, in Kuf Lamed Beis, in the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramo says over there like this: V'oimrim Kaddish Yosem Achar Oleinu, v'afilu en Yosem b'Beis HaKnesses Yomar Oiso Mish'en Lo Ov V'em. Says there's the Indian to say Kaddish Yosem after Oleinu. So it's a Kaddish Yosem. But if there's no Yosem in the shul, he says Misheyesh Lon Ov V'em Yochol Omroi. You could say even somebody has both parents, not a Yosem. Im Ovi V'imoy Imen Ovi V'em Makpidim. Yeah, it's some Ogur Tashbet Ma'aril. Yeah, so mashma clearly. Somebody that's Indian to say after Oleinu the Kaddish Yosem only if the Yosem is there, he should say it. If there's no Yosem over there, could there's somebody, if the parents are, only if they give him permission. If not, he should not say the Kaddish. So where this person come from, it says clearly, and as you see, there's really nobody choylek on this. Where this person that told him had to say it, you don't have to ask permission. You could say it. So I'll tell you where he probably came from. Hey, like this Beis Yosef I brought. And then there is another, the Sharet Shuva. Yeah, he brings like this from Sefer Shvus Yaakov. He brings like this. Kosav leinen ben haben. If the grandson, Ben Aben, Shalomad im Zakenoi, im Imo Zakenoi, he was learning, this grandson was connected to the grandfather, he was learning with him. He says, V'uroitze lomar Kaddish Acharam. Now, that grandfather passed away, he wants to say, the grandson feels connecting, he learned Torah with him, he wants to say Kaddish for him. V'imoy moicha. And the mother says, no, I don't want you to say Kaddish. I'm still alive. But lo daita. He doesn't have to listen to her. Probably he took it from here. From this, again, that's one of the... He says, don't listen. Even the mother says, no, I don't want it. You can say the Kaddish. But Emma says, this is absolutely no raya for this. Why? Why doesn't it talk about the father over here? Because we're talking about, in this case, it's clearly the Matzah Ephraim bring this, or we were talking about the father passed away before the grandfather. The father passed away. So he was a Yosem from the father anyway. Now the grandfather passed away, and he wants the Kaddish because the grandfather doesn't have a son to say Kaddish for him. That's why he wants to say the Kaddish. The father is not. That's why the Imoy, the mother, says, don't say the Kaddish, says you don't have to listen to him. In this case, because he's already a shtickle Yosem. He's already, and you see this clearly, the Matzah Ephraim brings that scenario like this. Here. First of all, why does the kpeda? That's the lashon of the levush. He elaborates and he brings the matter from brings it from the levush. We don't do laniach kaddish ze leisomim hen ktanim em gedolim. U'pnei shetiklu leisomim en lagim lo klal mishesh lo avoem. We don't say this kaddish whoever has both parents. Shema yakpidu mishrum al yiftach pe lasotem. Again, that's the lashon of the levush. V'yomeru ato mekaver lemisasenu. You're like waiting for us to die. Only if they're not makpid. If they're makpid, they should not say this kaddish. Now, and even they're not makpid. If there is a yosem, let that kaddish after the yosem say, not him. Even okay. Now like this. Now I'm reading from the Matzah Ephraim in a different halacha. Misha meis ve'en lo ben. Ach yesh lo ben aben. Oy ben abbas. Somebody died. He doesn't have somebody to say kaddish for him. Just a grandson or grandson from a son or a daughter. Yesh lo lomar kaddish al oviv zkeino. You could say. Vim enshom ovel acher, im yesham ovel acher, as I am ovel shnei kadeshim. This shomer acher zekeno, or zekeno shomer kadesh. They discuss another halacha. Well, we never had the shiur. The old days, there was the kadeshim. They didn't say all together. Everybody said another kaddish, and the whole chalukah who has priority to say which kaddish. They talk about over here. Now like this, he said like this. So now the elef hamogen said like this. I am a pischat shuva. Dim oviv v'imoy chayim en lomar kaddish yosem. Says you cannot say Kaddish Yosem, Dafka. But Kaddish Rabban Yecholom. It's like this. The whole idea over here, when he could say the Kaddish or not, when he's already anyway Yosem. But if the parents look cool, there's less man the palgi. If you look on all the Sivri Apostle, I didn't say one single opinion saying that you should ignore the parents when they tell you not to say Kaddish. Otherwise, they say, don't. Why would you do Stamach Loikis? And furthermore, he brings over here the whole Kapeda of Kaddish Yosem. Kaddish D'Rabbanan. That Kaddish was said after learning Torah Shabbat Peh, Mishnayos, Gemara. But you could say there's not Kaddish Yosem. The whole Kveda, it looks Kaddish Yosem. The Yisomim saying, well, you're not a Yosem, don't say Kaddish. So in this case, if the grandson has an urge to say Kaddish with the grandmother, say Kaddish D'Rabbanan. It's Kaddish after any Mishnah. It's Kaddish D'Rabbanan. So the Mele, it's clearly what the older poskim spoke about, that he could say the guy, the grandson, and ignore the mother when he was already a Yosem anyway. When he was already a Yosem, then he could say it. Yeah, and here's what... Yeah, the imu roit lemar kaddish achar zekena of imu el zekenos of b'chayim v'u moicha b'yodai v'ima b'chayim v'moicha eno rasha lavar v'tzoyna. Because clearly, yesh lo lefaisa shetil zekeroi lo mishum kavod of v'ima. He could negotiate with them, he could explain them, but l'mainsa they say no, he cannot do it. The only time they could do it, that's clear. The mother says clear what I just said, that we're talking about only when somebody, one of them, is not alive. Here's the lashon inside. V'ima is oviv. Yeah. That's clearly first the father died, then the grandfather died, and the mother says enter. Then he doesn't have to listen to her. Yeah, but if they're both alive, they say no, absolutely you cannot do it. So lamaisa, halacha lamaisa, bekitza, like that. There's really nobody argues on this. A grandson cannot say for the grandfather if they're both alive. The makpid, you have to get permission, or for that sake, you cannot say kaddish for anybody else if the parents are alive and the makpid. You have to get permission to say kaddish yosem, kaddish d'Rabbanan. You could say anybody could say kaddish d'Rabbanan. All right.